Dear friends, welcome to the quiz. Welcome to the flashcards on quadratic equations for class 10 maths 1 chapter 2, that is quadratic equations. Welcome to the flashcards. After reading every card, I will pause for 8 seconds so that you come up with an answer. If you need more time, please feel free to pause the video and then answer the question. So, friends, let us start with the quiz. First question: what is the degree of a polynomial known as linear polynomial? The degree of a linear polynomial is 1. What is the degree of a polynomial known as quadratic polynomial? The degree of a quadratic polynomial is 2. Classify the polynomial 5x plus 9 by its degree. It is a linear polynomial. Classify the polynomial 3x square minus 5x by its degree. It is a quadratic polynomial. How is a quadratic equation defined in terms of its variable and indices? It involves one variable with whole number indices where the maximum index is 2. What is the general form of a quadratic equation? We know the answer. The general form is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. In the general form ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, what type of numbers are a, b and c? They are real numbers. In the equation ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, why is the condition a not equal to 0 essential? If a is equal to 0, the equation is no longer quadratic because x square terms disappears. Because if we multiply x square by 0, the value will be 0. What are the values of a, b and c for the equation x square minus 4 is equal to 0 when written in general form? A is equal to 1, b is equal to 0 and c is equal to minus 4. Identify the values of a, b and c for the equation y square is equal to 2y minus 7 in general form. A is equal to 1, b is equal to minus 2 and c is equal to 7. In the equation m cube minus 5m square plus 4 is equal to 0, a quadratic equation? No, because the maximum index of the variable is 3 and not 2. Therefore, it is not a quadratic equation. What defines a root or solution of a quadratic equation, or what do we mean by root of a quadratic equation? It is the value of the variable that satisfies the equation, that is makes both sides equal. If p of x is a polynomial and p of a is equal to 0, what is the relationship between x minus a and p of x? x minus a is a factor of the polynomial p of x. How can you verify if x is equal to minus 6 is a root of the equation x square plus 5x minus 6 is equal to 0? Substitute minus 6 for x. If the result is 0, it is a root. What is the result of substituting x is equal to 2 into x square plus 5x minus 6? The result is 8, which is not equal to 0. In the factorization method, what property of 0 is used after obtaining linear factors? If the product of two numbers is 0, then at least one of them must be 0. What are the roots of the equation x minus 5 multiplied by x plus 1 is equal to 0? The roots are 5 and minus 1. Solve m square minus 14m plus 13 is equal to 0 using factorization. The roots are 13 and 1. Solve x square is equal to 3 by writing it in the form of factors. The roots are root 3 and minus root 3. When solving 3y square is equal to 15y, why is it incorrect to simply divide both sides by y? Why we cannot simply divide both sides by y? Dividing by y loses the potential root y is equal to 0. Y is equal to 0 is also one of the roots. What are the roots of 3y square minus 15y is equal to 0? The roots are 0 and 5. Under what circumstance is the completing the square method necessary instead of factorization? It is used when it is not possible to find factors of the constant term whose sum equals the middle coefficient. To make x square plus 10x a complete square, what term k must be added? The term k is equal to 25 must be added, calculated as 10 divided by 2 and then squared. What is the general expression to convert x square plus bx into perfect square? Add and subtract b upon 2 the whole square. When using the completing the square method, what is the first step if the coefficient of x square is not 1? Divide the entire equation by the coefficient of x square to make it 1. Write the quadratic formula used to find the roots of ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. x is equal to minus b plus minus root of b square minus 4ac upon 2a. In the quadratic formula, what are the two roots typically denoted as? They are denoted as alpha and beta. The expression b square minus 4ac in the quadratic formula is known as. It is known as the discriminant. What Greek letter is commonly used to denote the discriminant? The Greek letter delta is used. How is the solution of a quadratic equation found using the graphical method? The solutions are the x coordinates of the points where the graph intersects the x-axis. Describe the nature of the roots if the discriminant is equal to 0. The roots are real and equal. Describe the nature of the roots if the discriminant is greater than 0. The roots are real and unequal. Describe the nature of the roots if the discriminant is less than 0. The roots are not real numbers. Calculate the discriminant for x square plus 10x minus 7 is equal to 0. Discriminant will be 128. Determine the nature of roots for 2x square minus 5x plus 7 is equal to 0 given that delta is equal to minus 31. The roots are not real. What is the formula for the sum of the roots alpha plus beta in terms of coefficients? It is minus b upon a. What is the formula for the product of the roots alpha into beta in terms of coefficients? It is of course c upon a. If the roots of 2x square plus 6x minus 5 is equal to 0 are alpha and beta, find alpha plus beta. If the roots of 2x square plus 6x minus 5 is equal to 0, alpha and beta, then find alpha plus beta. Alpha plus beta is equal to minus 3. If the roots of 2x square plus 6x minus 5 is equal to 0 are alpha and beta, find alpha into beta. Alpha into beta is equal to minus 5 upon 2. What is the quadratic equation in variable x if the roots are alpha and beta? Alpha square minus into bracket alpha plus beta x plus alpha beta is equal to 0. This is how we can make a quadratic equation. Construct the quadratic equation if the roots are 3 and minus 10. The answer will be x square plus 7x minus 30 is equal to 0. Construct the quadratic equation if the sum of roots is 10 and the product of roots is 9. X square minus 10x plus 9 is equal to 0. If alpha and beta are roots of x square plus 5x minus 1 is equal to 0, find the value of alpha square plus beta square. Alpha square plus beta square is equal to 27. Find the value of k if x is equal to 3 is a root of kx square minus 10x plus 3 is equal to 0. K is equal to 3. In a word problem involving rectangular plot where area 200 meter square and length 10 meters more than the breadth, what is the resulting equation if breadth is x? X square plus 10x minus 200 is equal to 0. Why is a negative root often discarded in real world application problems like length or speed? Physical dimensions like length and speed can never be negative. If a train travels 360 kilometers at a uniform speed x, what is the expression for time taken? Speed is equal to distance upon time. Time is equal to 360 upon x hours. If the sum of squares of two consecutive natural even numbers is 244, find the numbers. The numbers are 10 and 12. Write the quadratic equation if roots are alpha is equal to 2 and beta is equal to 5. X square minus 7x plus 10 is equal to 0. Identify the quadratic equation among a is equal to 5 upon x minus 3 is equal to x square, b is equal to x into bracket x plus 5 is equal to 2, and c n minus 1 is equal to 2n. B x into x plus 5 is equal to 2 is quadratic. Find the value of k if roots of x square plus kx plus k is equal to 0 are real and equal. K is equal to 0 or k is equal to 4. Find the discriminant for root 2 x square minus 5x plus root 2 is equal to 0. Discriminant is equal to b square minus 4ac. Delta is equal to 17. What equation has roots 3 and 5? X square minus 8x plus 15 is equal to 0. If the sum of roots of x square plus mx minus 5 is equal to 0 is 2, find m. M is equal to minus 2. Formula alpha cube plus beta cube in terms of alpha plus beta and alpha beta. Alpha cube plus beta cube is equal to into bracket alpha plus beta the whole cube minus 3 alpha beta into bracket alpha plus beta. In the equation 5m square plus 2m plus k is equal to 0, if a root is minus 7 upon 5, what is the value of k? K is equal to minus 7. How does increasing speed by 5 km per hour change the time taken to cover 360 km if the initial speed was x? The new time is 360 upon x plus 5 hours. What is the sum of roots for 3x square minus 15x plus 3 is equal to 0? Sum of roots is equal to 5. Term factorization method. What can we say about factorization method? It is the method of solving a quadratic equation by splitting the middle term to find linear factors and setting each factor to 0. In 5x square is equal to 4x plus 7, identify A, B, C in general form. A is equal to 5, B is equal to minus 4 and C is equal to minus 7. The points of intersection of y is equal to x square and y is equal to 2x plus 3 give the roots of which equation? X square minus 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. If b square minus 4ac is negative, why are roots not real numbers? Because the square root of a negative number is not a real number. Square root of a negative number is not a real number. Find k if 3y square plus ky plus 12 is equal to 0 has real and equal roots. K is equal to 12 or k is equal to minus 12. Vivek is older than Kishore by 5 years. If Kishore is X, what is Vivek's age? The answer is X plus 5 years. What is the product of into bracket L plus 2 bracket complete into bracket L minus 5 bracket complete in quadratic form? L square minus 3L minus 10 is equal to 0. What is the value of alpha plus beta for x square minus 13x plus k is equal to 0? Alpha plus beta will be 13. If the difference between the roots is 7 and their sum is 13, what are the individual roots? The roots are 10 and 3. Solve x square plus x minus 20 is equal to 0 by factorization. The roots are -5 and 4. If the product of Pragati's age 2 years ago and 3 years hence is 84, what equation represents her present age x? X minus 2 into plus 3 is equal to 84, or x square plus x minus 90 is equal to 0. Identify A, B, C for the equation x square plus 2x is equal to 0. A is equal to 1, B is equal to 2 and C is equal to 0. What is the concept of discriminant is equal to 0? Real and equal roots. For example, in the quadratic equation x square plus 4x plus 4 is equal to 0, the value of discriminant will be 0. Discriminant less than 0, or the value of discriminant less than 0, the roots are not real. For example, in the quadratic equation x square plus x plus 5 is equal to 0, the value of discriminant is minus 19 and the roots won't be real numbers. The value of discriminant is greater than 0. The nature of the roots will be real and unequal. Example, x square plus 2x minus 9 is equal to 0. The value of discriminant is equal to 40. In the completing the square methods, why do we add and subtract b upon 2a the whole square? To transform the quadratic expression into a perfect trinomial. In the equation y square is equal to 5y minus 10, write it in general form. Y square minus 5y plus 10 is equal to 0. What is the value of the constant term in the polynomial 5x square? The constant term is 0. What property makes x square plus 10x plus 25 a complete square? It can be written exactly as a square of a binomial x plus 5 the whole square. So that was all, friends, as far as flashcards are concerned. Thank you.